You've been lied to about body language. Crossed arms don't mean blocking. Touching your nose doesn't mean lying. And if you think you can read lies, you're already wrong. Hi, we are HumatiQ. We explain human behavior with science, not guesswork. Today we use the lessons a former FBI agent taught to show what actually matters and why most quick rules are useless. Most of us grew up on sound bites: crossed arms, sh closed; avoiding eye contact, sh lying; touching the nose, check guilt. These are tidy rules that make us feel smart, because they simplify messy human behavior into a single sentence we can use at a party. That feeling, the sudden surge of certainty, is the dangerous part. It's the Dunning-Kruger moment. A little knowledge creates overconfidence. You think you can read a person and you start to act like you can predict them. If this helps, subscribe. We publish short science explainers daily. Here's the humiliation part. When professionals, like FBI behavior analysts, talk about nonverbal cues, they don't give one-to-one rules. They say gestures are noisy data. Crossed arms could be cold, comfortable, defensive, or simply habit. Nose touching? Maybe an itch, allergies, or stress relief. Eye movement? Often thinking. Why does pop culture get it so wrong? Because it sells certainty. A 5-second label makes a good headline. But real behavior is multivariate. Posture, voice tone, facial microexpressions, breathing, context, and baseline all interact. Neuroscience reminder: stress and arousal change many systems. Heart rate, breathing, small muscle tone, not a single telling gesture. The autonomic nervous system is messy, and it's shared across many states, not unique to lying. So what does the FBI actually trust? Not isolated gestures. They trust change from a reliable baseline. You establish how a person normally behaves, the baseline. Then you look for deviations when critical questions happen. That means you watch patterns: posture, hand placement, micro pauses in speech, speech rate, blink rate, and crucially, whether those elements shift abruptly in context. It's the deviation that creates diagnostic value. A neuroscience line here: sudden deviations often reflect autonomic arousal, cortisol and adrenaline spikes, which can indicate stress. Stress can accompany deception, but it can also come from fear, embarrassment, or cognitive load. The signal is ambiguous until you add context. Let me give you a concrete tradecraft story. An investigator once noticed how a person held a bouquet during a public exchange. It seems trivial, but in certain cultures the default grip differs, and the suspect's grip deviated from his cultural baseline. That deviance didn't prove guilt by itself. It flagged curiosity. It led the agent to ask different questions, to watch for other deviations, and to triangulate with facts. The bouquet grip was a starting point, not a verdict. The lesson: tradecraft turns tiny oddities into leads. It's the accumulation of small, converging deviations that become strong evidence, not any single tell you read on a dating app. Here's the only safe body language test you should use. I call it the baseline deviation test. And it's simple. Step 1. Observe baseline. Spend 5 minutes seeing how someone normally behaves in neutral moments: posture, speech rhythm, hand use. Step 2. Introduce a neutral, low-risk stimulus, a routine question or comment. Step 3. Watch for sudden deviations from that baseline, shifts in breathing, posture, or speech rate. Step 4. Triangulate. Did other people notice? Does the context explain it? Important: don't assume meaning. If you see deviation, ask a factual follow-up question or gather other evidence. The test is a prompt to investigate, not to accuse. How does this look in practice? In poker, pros watch for deviations that happen when stakes change, a player's blink rate or seat shift when big bets occur. Even then, pros build databases of patterns across hands before trusting a read. In job interviews or dates, use the same skill. Baseline first, then watch for deviations when pressure points appear. If someone's hands tighten when asked about finances, Note it, but verify. In short, use nonverbal cues as prompts to ask better questions, not as answers. This brings us to the final Dunning-Kruger turn: humility. The real expert knows what they don't know. The moment you declare certainty, you've stopped collecting data. Humility keeps you curious and collecting evidence. Recap: no single gesture proves deception. Context and baseline matter. Look for deviations, then verify. This is HumatiQ. For more deep dives into how people actually work, watch the Relationship Science playlist now.